Hey, besties. It's been a while. I know. Don't yell at me. Welcome back to I'll Drink to That. Season 2, I guess. I don't know. I took a very long hiatus, okay? But we're back. We're going to attempt to be back, okay? I have a few interviews they happened, and then here's the thing. I paused because of the WGA strike. Solely because in these podcast episodes we talk about like what people are binge watching, and we talk about pop culture, and we talk about television and film, and it felt not right for me to be talking about things, especially things that are like that were currently paused because of the strike. So I paused as well, and all of a sudden and then the strike ended, and all of a sudden time totally went faster than I thought it was going to. So we're here. We edited a podcast. This podcast I'm very excited about. It was recorded last year, literally like June of 2023, right before the strike. And June, something like that. Anyway, this is Binta. Binta and I worked at Telsey. We'll talk a little bit more about that. The Telsey casting office, Telsey office. And Binta was a casting director for the TV film department. So that's another reason why I had to pause with, we talk a little bit about that. But enjoy. I hope you learn lots from a wonderful casting director. And yeah, welcome back to I'll Drink to That. I always forget she speaks to you.
I know. I'm traumatized,
do it.
triggered.
Jeez. I hope she's getting paid. I hope whoever that is gets... Although it sounds like a robot. It actually sounds like not a real person versus Siri, where Siri is
an actual person.
An actual person.
Yeah, the robot does not need money.
Zoom should do the thing. Do you have Waze?
Yeah.
Okay, you know how Waze, you can have Cookie Monster give you directions?
Yeah.
You should be able to choose, so you can have the Jonas Brothers being like, hey, you're recording
fully.
now.
It's fully it's untapped potential as far as just getting free money, basically.
Well, this is a great way to start the podcast. I'm here with Binta.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Claire, when was the last time that we saw each other?
Before the Panini press.
Gosh. That is crazy.
It was the semester before, because my semester didn't get cut short.
Got it. Okay.
Because I was in the fall of 2019.
That's right. I didn't even think about the semester being cut short. Wow.
Yeah, because we were trying to figure out. Okay, for people who don't know, it's now called the Telsey office, but Telsey and Co. used to do this little internship where students who were in the arts, right? It was in the arts, I guess.
Yeah,
sure, I guess. You could apply. You could do this little internship if you got it. And we spent a whole entire semester working at the Telsey office, which is just this little itty bitty startup casting company.
Yes, itty bitty is exactly right.
Yeah. We didn't really work together much, though. You and I didn't.
No, yeah, because I was in the on-camera department.
Yeah, I wasn't in your section.
Yeah, so I definitely saw you running around like a busy little bee, but not many interactions. Yeah.
No, I did a lot of setting up and breaking down. That was good. I definitely know how to use a tripod now.
That was actually, so I was one of the few staff members who did not start as an intern at the office. So that was something I was always very unsure about, the equipment, all of that stuff. I never really learned how to set up a room, how to operate the cameras and stuff like that, because my experience before the office was mostly sitting in the room, but I wasn't the camera off. So seeing y'all do that, I was like, y'all are heroes. If you put me in a room with that equipment, I would simply just stand there and cry. So
I think the most stressful thing was when you got stuck with we had like 2 broken tripods, I think, that
mm-hmm.
never actually really stayed. Like we had to tape it so that it wouldn't like
My
slide
God,
down
tape it.
slowly.
Oh,
Um
yikes.
we had those. I forget if they were like with the on because it depended on what camera you used. It was like like
Sure,
there were different
sure.
cameras for different things. You had the musical theater camera, musical theater
Right.
plays camera, and then you had your on screen cameras. And I think
Mm-hmm,
it was an
mm-hmm.
on screen camera, but sometimes if all of the
Yikes.
musical theater were like using up the other cameras, you had to use the on
Mm,
screen if there was like nothing happening. Oh my gosh, that was
mm.
stressful. That
It sounds stressful.
and the Zoom. I don't know,
Mm.
like I had a camcorder. Was it even a camcorder? I don't know. It
You're
wasn't
like, you had
like
a
it
camcorder?
wasn't like as a kid. Like I had like one of those
Oh,
like a carry, but I
yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah,
remember the
yeah.
zoom being as quick. Like some of those cameras, their zooms were like whoosh.
No, literally, like that when I started finally like using the cameras, that was the thing that threw me off the most, especially when you were trying to like capture like the actor who was moving, like, as they should, like use the space, whatever. But I was just like trying to fold them and zoom in if they were like whatever, whatever. And I
Mhm.
was just like, this looks like a horror film. Like,
The worst was when they would I mean like choose to sit if you're going to sit. Love a choice. But
mm-hmm,
then they would like
mm-hmm.
stand up out of the blue. And
Horrible.
I'm over here like,
Horrible.
I don't know what your monologue is. I don't know what's going on. And they make this bold choice to stand up. And I'm like, well, now I've
Mm,
cut your head off.
right.
So
Now
give me
I'm
a
fighting
second
for
to
my
figure
life.
that out.
Yeah, truly in the trenches.
It was great though. 10 out of 10 would
Yeah.
recommend doing an internship at a casting company. Okay, wait. So
Absolutely.
welcome to I'll Drink to That.
Thank
What are you
you.
what are you sipping on tonight?
I'm sipping on this nice little mango smoothie from
Trader
Trader Joe's.
Joe's.
A nice little TJ's moment. It's refreshing. It is so tasty, and it is super cheap because it's from Trader Joe's. So,
We love Trader Joe's in this house.
indeed,
I'm sipping on some tea because
good. What kind? What flavor or
this is
profile?
the
I guess.
is it Twinnings or Twinings? I don't even know. It's Earl Grey though.
Love an Earl Grey moment. I've never said the company's name out loud, and I will keep to that.
It's
hmm
someone's gonna someone's gonna be from the UK and they're gonna be like, what did
Or
you just do?
alternatively, this is your opportunity for some SpawnCon. Get on board.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, I love some Earl Grey. Usually I put some cream in
hmm
it. Sorry to folks
Hmm.
who are like, why would you put cream in your tea?
No, I'm totally with that. I'm totally with that.
Anyway, welcome to I'll Drink to That. That's literally the only question that I ask about your drink. I always tell people that. Um,
Yes.
but if you ever want to actually say that you're gonna sip the tea, then I mean, if you spill enough tea, we'll sip to it.
There we go.
Okay, so Binta and I, as we said, we met at Telsey, and you
Mhm.
do the casting thing professionally. That's
Yeah,
freelance. That's your gig.
yeah, I freelance. I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I've mostly now trying to transition into coaching.
Coaching by Binta.
Because yes, that's kind of that was my takeaway when I was thinking about like what I liked about casting and what I liked about, or how I felt like I could contribute my skills like to the industry. And I was like, the thing that I love the most about casting is working with the actors and being in the room and watching them take adjustments and coming up with adjustments. And I was like, well, yeah, I can just do that. And that is coaching. So yeah, I started coaching by Binta last July. So it'll almost be a year now, which is crazy. And it's truly like some of the um, happiest moments that I have is getting to work with actors, like, whether it's preparing for an audition or just looking at the material in their rep, or if it's career coaching, if it's looking at old self tapes and me giving them feedback on it. Like it's all like deeply aligns with what I love about working with actors and what I love about casting. So it's very exciting.
It's interesting because I had never coached anyone. I have no reason to coach anyone but I did the casting thing. And
Mhm.
then I got back to school because I was a sophomore at the time. So I got back to school,
Mhm.
and then of course the world shut down.
Mhm.
But I took this audition workshop class that's required. I'm a BFA musical theater, if people don't know that already. I ended up befriending that professor, and then I started like coaching with her. I was
Mm.
like the TA for the next 3 years until I graduated.
Wow.
So we did a lot of Zoom stuff, which I wish I
Mm.
had been able to work more with you on screen, because I was like, that's
Mm.
basically what we're doing. You guys are going to be
Yeah.
great with your self tapes.
Mhm.
But I really enjoy the coaching process too, because it's fun seeing people have big breakthroughs.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Yeah.
best thing ever.
It really is. Like, that is truly like, oh, it gives me chills every single time. It's something that is so funny to me, the how emotional it makes me, because it really is just like, so much. I feel like so much of what actors are concerned about is like, trying to make it and trying to have the best reel and trying to have the best connections and making yourself like visible, like by whatever means necessary. And I feel like every time I get to work with actors, it's like this opportunity to really just focus on the craft and focus on
Mm-hmm.
like exploring different texts and seeing what journeys that they can go on. And like, I feel like every single session that I have, it ends up being somewhat of like a like a therapist
Yeah.
session, because it's like, at the end of the day, it's what you're bringing to the character. And so like we end up asking, going into conversations about like, well, how would you do it? Like, how do you feel? How do you respond? Like, how are you connecting with the text? And so I end up learning so much more about these people that I'm working with, and it's thrilling. It's thrilling.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I also love working. I do mostly acting through song work with
Hmm.
folks. And my favorite thing is, of course, everyone has their songs. I mean, like, there are songs in musical theater that everyone does, right?
Absolutely.
Um, but my favorite thing is when people do bring in the same song, and I'm like, did we see how
Mm.
different that was? Because you have
Mhm.
such a different connection to what's going
Mhm.
on, and my other favorite. I mean, like, especially with musical theater, if a word is supposed to be emphasized, most of the time it goes up with the
Mm.
vocal. Um,
Mhm.
but I've had some people who have come in with the sections that are like or like we're working on the whole song. So we're working on the bridge, we're working on like the
Mm.
lower, more talky sections. The
Mm.
way that they emphasize different words, because that sentence just means something different to them. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I never ever would have thought of it that way. It was insane.
Right.
Anyway, that was just it's like so interesting seeing, and that's why I liked the whole casting aspect too, was watching
Mhm.
people come in and show a completely
Yeah.
different version of the same 32 bar cut that we've seen for 4 hours straight.
Exactly.
That was refreshing.
No, for real. Like I know like during, and for the offices that I've worked in since the shutdown, like I haven't had like any in-person auditions. Like it's all been via Zoom. And like because of that, like I don't know if you've noticed this or from like yourself or your peers, but like there's been such a huge uh what am I trying to say? We've just, I feel like there have been so many more self-tape requests that have been sent out than like
That's like all I
normally.
do.
Exactly. So I feel like, we've been sitting like watching so many more tapes than we normally would. And so it really can become so draining watching like, 100 tapes of the exact same scenes, whatever, whatever. So like those moments when like an actor really takes like a strong, a strong choice and like really goes in a different direction, like it really makes them stand out. And sometimes it's for worse, but most times it's for most times it's for the best. So yeah, it is really, it's really awesome to be like a part of that process, to get them to that tape, and like having the experience that I have in casting and knowing how to like look at audition sides and know like what are the parts that casting is going to be looking at, like what are the parts that are like the really big beat shifts that like you're going to want to like emphasize. I just feel like I came to coaching so prepared for, how to best help actors and artists in general. So that's really exciting to like be able to, keep my skill set, like, or to be able to make like the best use of my skill set.
Yeah. And I've learned whenever I always say, okay, tell me what you're doing. You're going to do it. I'm just going to see what you've worked on.
Mhm.
Hopefully, they've worked on it by the
Mhm.
time they've gotten to me. The first question I ask is, do you love this song? Like, do
Mm.
you love as whoever you are? Like, do you love this? Because if you don't love it, then there's no point in you doing it.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. It
Mhm.
obviously doesn't align with something.
Mhm.
I get it, if I don't know, someone gave it to you in high school and you loved it then, you've overworked it. Like, it's been
Mhm.
10 years and you're still singing the same song. Maybe let's try a new one. Let's find a
Yeah, maybe.
same with monologues. Like, if it's the same let's do another one. There are so many
Mhm.
monologues about the same thing because
So
it's a
many.
human experience.
Mhm.
Everyone. Okay, so casting, coaching my Binta. We'll put all of
Mhm.
that in the little your little thing. It's not
Thank you,
YouTube
thank
anymore. I
you.
don't do YouTube anymore, so I can't say in the box below
Right.
in the description.
In the description.
Um. Okay, so tell me what you're binge watching right now. What are you into right now?
I was driving back home. I was working with my best friend out of her home today, and I was driving back and I was just like, I need to be prepared for this question because I know it's going to be asked. And still I'm like, the last thing that I binged was Queen Charlotte, which was so utterly fabulous, it took my breath away. Like, it truly was Shonda Rhimes, like, at her peak, and I thought the cast was so brilliant, I thought the story was so engaging, especially for it being, like, both a prequel and a spin-off of the Bridgerton franchise. Like, it's so exciting, and I love seeing young, new talent who are just like a take off in such exciting ways. So yeah, me and my roommate like ate that shit up. Oh, I'm allowed to curse, right?
You can curse. There's a little. I'll
um
put the little expletive sign.
yes, much appreciated. But yeah, I we loved it. I loved it so much. I was truly like shocked by how much I loved it. Have you watched it yet?
Okay, no, full disclosure. I haven't
Mm.
even finished season 2 of Bridgerton.
Season 2?
Girl, yeah. It's
The best season? Oh.
I did watch. Okay, I've been telling people this, which people find really funny. I did watch the first season. My mom and I binged it together, not having a clue
So brave.
what it
So
was. I
bold.
know. First 5 minutes was such an awesome time for me. And that's quite literally. I mean, I remember a lot about the show, but if anyone brings up Bridgerton, I'm like, yeah, I watched it with my mother.
I mean, to be fair, I also did watch it with my entire family. And me and my sister would like we're texting during like some of the sex scenes, and she's like, "You have the remote. Change like fast forward." Now she's like, "No, we are adults. We're going to power through." And then I was just like, "I made a mistake. I should have." And we sure did fast forward through some of those sex scenes, but like the sex scenes are so good, and to see choreographer pop off, like
Absolutely.
gorgeous, stunning work.
But I am also the person who I have to really be in the mood to like
Mhm.
start watching, especially a Shonda, like just a
Mhm.
Shondaland show in general. I started Grey's Anatomy for a bit there.
Wow.
I mean, they have some seasons. They have multiple seasons, and I'm
They have
still
some seasons.
I'm still like, I haven't, I'm like almost to season 9, and this is my first watch through ever. And I get to the point
Oh
where
my god.
because I try, my issue is, I try and binge watch it, which I know some people can do. But
Mhm.
Grey's Anatomy is so deep sometimes that I'm like, I've watched 2 episodes and now I have to take a month off.
Yeah,
So
like I simply must retire. Like
yeah, yeah. Although the other day I did pass by Sarah Ramirez, and I think I
oh my
almost
god.
lost my brain.
They
Like
are oh my god.
they
Literally
walked they
New
walked
York
like this
icon.
way as I was like, or they were like crossing the street. It was like 3 seconds left, so they just made it. Walk, and I'm like on my
Mm.
phone. I look up and they're
Oh
like
my god.
literally walking. They're, I don't know where they're going. They're like rushing.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
our walk sign changes, and I literally had to go, "Yes, your foot moves now." Because I was like, "Oh my god, I what?"
Literally.
Could have just like
Especially
passed
you in the
away.
thick of yeah, in the thick of like grays, like not even getting into like the and just like that or like even the MT stuff
No,
of it all. Ugh, Sarah
I
Ramirez.
mean, I love them. I have seen them in and just like that. I saw the first season of
Mhm.
that because my friend's parents were like
Mhm.
binge watching it while I was over at their place. So
Mhm.
I got bits and pieces of that. I never really watched Sex in the City. My mother did,
Mhm.
and it was always the
Yeah.
oh, you can't be down here when we're watching this because I was a child
You're
when
right.
she was watching that. But I have seen the movies. I do know the characters for the most part. But I do
I
remember
don't know
them,
anything about that show.
and just like that, or just like
And
Sex in the
Sex
City in
in the
general.
City, like I've never seen a single episode.
I feel like it's like what's the this will tell you how much I watch television. XO, oh, Gossip Girl. It's kind of like Gossip Girl. I had hear Christine. I feel like it's like
Mhm.
Gossip
Mhm.
Girl, but like instead of, or I guess it could be Bridgerton esque because she's writing a blog. Like
Right.
it's like
Right. Right.
it's
Right.
just her writing the blog, but you're watching it while she's like, and they have the beginning and the end. She asks a
Mhm.
question at the
It's
beginning, and then it's or like Grey's Anatomy does that too.
right.
I guess it's just one of those
Right.
kinds of
Mhm.
arcing of shows.
Yeah, I feel like I missed my opportunity to get into it and enjoy it. I feel like if I tried to watch it now, it would just like make me annoyed or it would make me uncomfortable or it would make
Hmm.
me angry. So, yeah,
It's all of the
I just
above
like
because it did not age well
mhm,
at all. A
exactly.
lot of the things did not age well, and I think my
Mhm.
issue. Sorry, people who like and just like that. It like they. I feel like they tried to fix everything in that first season.
Trying to right a lot of wrongs and like God bless, I get it. Like they knew what they were doing trying to like put that show into today's like world, but yeah, it was not enough for me to be convinced that I needed to tune in and like catch up and then tune in. But like God bless if you watch it and enjoyed it, love that journey for you.
Oh yeah, totally. Are there any like movies that you're excited about that are coming out, or like movies that you've seen recently
um
that you're like, yes, I'm not a movie person, so I'm not gonna know anything. But
yeah. I just saw a screening of Past Lives, the Celine Song um debut. She wrote and directed it. It's Greta Lee, who's playing the lead of that movie. It's this really beautiful story about Korean family that immigrates to Canada, and Greta Lee's character moves to New York, and it's kind of following her as she's like continuing her life and adjusting into like a Western world, um, while still like she ends up being reconnected with a part of her past through her childhood best friend, who she loses touch with when she leaves Korea, and they reconnect like 12 years later, and so he becomes like this kind of piece of her past that like they kind of like build their relationship back up together, and it's like seeing kind of like what could have been like if she had been with him, if like she ends up getting married to like this white guy, and like seeing how their relationship is. It's this really beautiful, like soft, like, you know, talky movie, and I just like I eat that shit up. So I really, really loved it. It comes out June 2nd, I want to say. So keep an eye out for that. And then I also watch anime, and there's this one movie that I saw twice in theaters. I loved it that much. Called Suzume. By the director who did Your Name, if anyone was a big fan of that one. But it's this really amazing, stunningly beautiful, like fantasy um story about like these people who basically are responsible for making sure that Japan doesn't uh get destroyed by these like creatures who live like under like the island basically. And this girl who kind of like happens upon it and has to help like this one guy with saving Japan. And that's like a very, very vague description of the movie. There's a lot more that goes into it. But it was beautiful, and I love the story. It talks a lot about like grief and um kind of uh the the ways that we can be there for ourselves in our own lives, and like the kindness of strangers and the help that we get along the way in life. And it was just really, really beautiful, and definitely I'm definitely glad I saw it in theaters because the imagery was stunning. So yeah, those are two movies that I've watched recently that I really loved.
They're those movies that you like have to see in theaters. Like it's a
Mhm.
requirement. I feel like anime is one of those. I don't watch
Mhm.
anime. I'm not. I've never. I mean, I've seen things, but it's not something I
Yeah.
usually. It's just
Yeah.
not the art form that I usually watch. But I
Mhm.
feel like, I mean, anime is stunning. Like a lot of what I've
Yeah.
seen of anime is absolutely gorgeous. So I seeing it
Mhm.
on a big screen, I feel like is a
Yeah.
must. I'd
It
say that
really
about
is. It,
like all Marvel movies. I actually really don't
mhm.
love movie theaters, but I always say that if a Marvel movie comes out, I will be seeing it in theaters because I feel like
Yeah.
watching it on your television at home, even though I have Disney Plus, it's not
Mhm.
the same.
It really isn't.
It
It
really
really
isn't.
isn't.
I made the mistake
Mhm.
of not seeing Shang-Chi
Oh,
in theaters. I think I
dang.
just missed. I don't remember why I didn't see that. I guess I just decided I
Mm.
wasn't going to. And
Mm.
that one I didn't see in theaters, and I didn't see Black Widow in theaters. The only
Mm.
ones.
Black
But I'm
Widow,
also
I feel
very
like
new to
that's fine.
Marvel.
That's right. I remember us talking about that together.
Yeah.
Yeah, Black Widow, I feel like it's fine that you saw that one at home, but Shang-Chi was really, really cool to see in theaters. I actually went, there's what is it called? It's like E eat something. But it's something that the LA Times does. It's like they have like food trucks and like different sponsors and vendors, and then they do like a screening of a movie like at a park. And I went to one when they were playing Shang-Chi. So I like got to like see it like at the screen in the park, like under the stars. It was really, really dope.
I don't remember. I think I finally bit the bullet and watched Shang-Chi one day when I didn't actually have time. Like, of course, all these other days, I was like, I have so much time, I could watch Shang-Chi right now. And I watched
Mhm.
it to the point, I think, where I finished it and I ran out the door. That was like, wherever I was going, I had to leave. But I was like, you know
Right.
what? I have enough time. I have just enough time
Oh
to watch
man.
this. But I didn't start. I was not a Marvel fan until WandaVision.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, I guess I have to watch this because I won't understand anything that's happening in WandaVision. So I was watching all of the
Exactly.
movies simultaneously in between the weeks of WandaVision.
Oh my
Plus the
gosh.
fact I think I started watching WandaVision by the time they were airing episode 4. So I
Mm.
also had to watch the first 4 episodes.
Mhm.
It was a lot. I still have only probably
Yeah.
gone through like 50 or 60% of all of Marvel. So a lot of it I
Oh.
did watch on my television.
Mhm.
But a few weeks, I say a few weeks ago, it was definitely like last year in the fall. Um, Lin-Manuel Miranda did he does the screenings at the Heat Up,
Yeah.
and they did Black Panther, and one
Oh,
of
nice.
the actresses was there to do a little talk back. But that was
Oh,
the first.
nice.
Black Panther's my favorite out of all of the
Mhm.
ones that I've seen. So that was really fun to
Mhm.
get to see that
Oh, yeah.
on a big screen. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
they just did, you know how they do, like, I know they do it a lot with Harry Potter, but they'll do the orchestrations like
Oh, yeah.
live. I think they
Mhm.
just recently did that somewhere in the city because I saw like an ad for it, but
Mm.
for Black
Very
Panther,
cool. Right.
which I
That's
think would
really dope.
be really cool to go and see.
It would be.
Okay, so you live in LA.
I live in
You've
LA.
you are you like bi-coastal or are you just in LA now?
No, I'm just in LA, solidly a West Coast girly now, and I'm proud of it.
So I've been to LA once
Mm.
for I did an on-screen study abroad. It was obviously not very abroad, but
Mm.
I did like a study abroad for 2 weeks during J term. Had a lot of
Wow, 2 weeks.
fun. I kind of got the LA experience, but like not really.
Yeah.
I did ride on the little scooters. I hate the scooters.
Oh, you'll never see me on one.
But I was gonna say, since you are now a West Coast girly,
Yeah.
what's the best thing to do in the area?
Oh,
If someone's
I mean,
visiting and you're like, okay, so you have to do this and this and this.
when my friends have come to visit me, I always like to take them to my favorite like outlooks, where you can like see a lot of the city.
Oh yeah.
Um, so like, I either take them to like the Palos Verdes cliffs, or I recently went closer to me is the Baldwin Hills outlook, and both of them offer like the most stunning views of like surround views of Los Angeles. Um, so definitely like I take them there. I usually like to take them on like I mean, I guess I don't plan for it, but like I think I would plan to like take them on my favorite highways that have really good views as well. Like my favorite highway, I think it's which one is that? I think it's either I don't know why. I feel like it's like something ending with a five. It's like, hold on. I will look this up because I'm like, I don't wanna like speak on the wrong highway because some highways are terrible. Um, yeah, it has to be either the 134 or I think it is the 5. Um, and maybe a little bit, yeah. Maybe a little bit of the 110 too. It depends on which path I take. But some of those like I love the views of just like driving and seeing like the mountains and the mansions in the mountains and like all those things. Like driving is like an essential part of LA. So like I feel like you have to do a little like
You have
we're
to make
gonna
it
sit in the
fun.
car, yeah, and just drive around. And In and Out. You have to go to In and Out multiple times if possible.
I have eaten an In and Out once.
Oh my God. Would I would die for In and Out. Like fully, completely, like would put my life on the line for In and Out.
I'm someone who my like eyes are bigger than my stomach kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first time I got In and Out, I think I just ordered like a cheeseburger or something and fries. And it
Mm-hmm.
came and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so much food for me." I don't normally finish every single fry and I ate all of it. I was like, it was gone. It was completely gone and both of my parents were like,
It is genuinely a perfect portion size because it does look like a lot of food and it is, but because like every time I eat it, it like completely fills me up. But I
"Oh,
eat every
absolutely."
single bit,
You're
every
like,
single
"I don't
bit.
need to eat for another 5 days. I'm set."
Exactly. Oh, gosh, you make me want In and Out.
I thought, okay, wasn't In and Out supposed to move east? Wasn't that supposed to be a thing?
That's crazy to hear. I've never heard that before. I mean, I would support it, but I feel like it's also so deeply like
It's
West
so
Coast. Like
right, it
it should just
is.
stay here. It should just stay here. Sorry to the East Coast. Like y'all have, I don't know. I don't I like I'm a big burger girly, so like I like to like, think about like my rankings of like places that I like to get burgers from, and like In-N-Out is truly like my number one. And I feel like I really do love a burger from Red Robin.
Oh, that
I
was so left
love
field. I would
I
not have.
know. I know. I'm from Virginia, and I just like every time I go home, I do really crave like a Red Robin burger. Like those things just hit. Oh, they're so good. Every time I've had one, it was just like the perfect burger.
I I mean, I love an In-N-Out burger. I've only had it once though. So I can't
Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
actually I just remember liking it a lot and I liked the sauce
Mhm.
and the portions of
Mhm.
like everything on the burger, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so when I got home, I of course was looking for something that was similar.
Right.
And I actually have no idea what there's a place I'm from Columbia, South Carolina.
Mm.
And there's a place called Rush's.
Hmm. I don't
And
know it,
that's
but
the closest thing to an In-N-Out burger that I have
mm.
found. But the other thing is it's my memory of what an In-N-Out burger is, you
Sure,
know? So
that's
like
true.
I could probably if you set both of them next to me, I would be like these are the most opposite things in the world. But when I got home, that was a burger that I had and I was like, "No, these are actually very close." So
Mhm.
that's so whenever I was like craving In-N-Out, I would be like,
Yeah.
"Let's go to Russia's because they have the fry. Like you can get the fries, you can get the burger. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Very
I
good.
also really love a burger and fries from Checkers or like Rallies, if that's like the other one. Like their
I know
burger is also so
Checkers.
good.
I don't think I've
Fucking
ever
love
had
Checkers.
anything from Checkers, but I know what it is. I've seen
Yeah,
it.
I love me some Checkers. But that burger talk. But yes, I really do love living out here. I've been out here for over 2 years now, which is crazy because at this point I've lived here longer than I lived in New York. Um,
Is the traffic as
so
bad as people say? Like, is it as
oh,
bad as here?
absolutely.
Well, here's traffic is just like crazy. People are
Yeah,
crazy up here, but
yeah. And it's also just so much smaller. Like the fact that there's traffic everywhere in this frickin' city at all times. Yeah, the traffic is quite bad. And like I grew up like, in the DMV, like I was like, I know traffic, like I know rush hour, like that's fine. But it's like out here there are like 7 lanes of traffic and every single one of them is backed up. And you're like, what the fuck are we doing here?
no,
What are
because
we
you
doing?
sit there and you watch and you're like, if everyone just moved, like if
Right.
nobody stopped, we would be moving right now.
Right.
My favorite
Right.
is when you pass by like when there's like something on the side of the road or like someone is
Mhm.
stopped or there's
Mhm.
an accident and it's not even on your side of
Mhm.
the road, but everyone has to slow down to watch it happen. Like
The
watch whatever is
rubbernecking.
going on. So then
It'll be
you're
the
just
death of
like,
me.
we're stopped. It's not even blocking us. We can go. You can drive.
Mhm.
But of course everyone slows down. So then
Mhm.
it's backed up for miles.
Mhm. Yeah, it's quite heinous. It's the rubbernecking of it all will absolutely be the death of me, and that's just yeah, that's the cross you have to bear among some other things about living out here. But I genuinely do love it. I'm so glad I moved out here, and I'm so excited to see what is to come of me being out here. But yeah, I am a big convert.
I used to when I was a kid for some reason I had some vendetta against California for no reason. I was like
So did I.
I will never live in California. Why? I don't know. I have no reason. I've never been. I don't know anything about the state. It's huge. It's got a coast. It's going to, disappear in 100 years.
I
And
was
I
the
literally
same
was like I will
way.
never live there. And then I visited for those 2 weeks and I was like, "Ah, damn it."
I moved here for work, and because the casting office I was working with was based out here, but I was still quarantining with my family in Virginia, and so I was working West Coast hours, and the show I was working on, which was the First Lady, which is a Showtime series. It was just like a really, really crazy project, and so I was working basically from like noon to 10 p.m. And I was like, oh, that's not a way to live. So so I moved out here because I didn't really have anything keeping me at home other than like not paying rent. Um, and at that point, I was pocketing so much money. I was like, I can afford to move out, to LA. And I was the same way. Like, I was just like, I was an East Coast girly through and through. I was like, West Coast, like, has nothing to it. Like, I'm moving there for work, but I'm not moving there because I want to. But I guess we'll see, like, what happens. But it was the best decision I ever made. So,
I'm hoping that something will take me out to LA is what I'm hoping at some point.
Yeah, let's manifest that.
Yeah. That's what I was like, we're booking something out there. But also like LA, I got my best haircut like ever. I went to like a stylist out there, celebrity stylist. I was like, this is the best haircut that I've ever gotten. And if I have to spend this much money to get a haircut, I might do it. Like I might do it.
Yeah, I get that. It really is it's a different world out here, especially compared to New York. But yeah, I've definitely if I haven't come to appreciate it, I at least come to understand it more.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this podcast is called I'll Drink to That, which, as most folks know, is, I mean, people say that all the time, but also a Sondheim reference. So I have to bring up Sondheim at least once during the podcast.
Please do.
So my question is, do you have a favorite Sondheim show or quote or song or any fun facts that you may know about the man?
Okay, my favorite Sondheim musical is in fact Sweeney Todd. I've loved me some Sweeney Todd. I was in a production of it in college and undergrad, and you would think that would have ruined the show for me, but in fact, it has only fed the addiction. I love Sweeney Todd. I think it's such a crazy story and such incredible music, and the cast always knock it out of the park. And yeah, that's for sure my favorite musical of his work. And I actually recently saw USC, they did a production of Sondheim on Sondheim. So it was my first time like seeing that show. Which like I didn't really know what I was getting into. I was just like Sondheim on Sondheim means something, but I don't know.
Right.
And in fact it is just a musical review. But I learned so much about his life through that, obviously. Like there are so many, I don't know how it's usually done. I don't know if this was like a different take on the musical, but like, in between the songs, like it was like footage of Sondheim and like the various like interviews and things that that he sat on or sat through, just like sharing details about his life. And I just learned so much about him, and it made me appreciate not just his work, but I think the work in general of just like lyricists and musicians and composers, and just how brilliant their minds are. Even if like they don't write a hit, even if like they don't, even if they aren't wildly successful, like having that ability is something that is so stunning to me. So yeah, I was a really big fan of like that musical, and like the production was honestly great. So like shout out to them, the USC students who were in it. And yeah, I think like even though I love Sweeney Todd, I feel like the song that I keep going back to is Being Alive. Like I feel like that song just keeps changing meaning. Like the older that I get and listen to it, it's so deeply personal, and it means something different to everyone. But I really appreciate that about that song.
Are you gonna come back to see the Sweeney revival?
I would love nothing more. Like the fact that Sweeney and Parade are both on Broadway at the same time, like this season's programming was for me.
Parade's wonderful.
I love Parade so much, and I've been dying for a revival of it. And so when it was at City Center, I was like, this is it, this is it. So yeah, I would give anything to see both of those productions. And like it is my hope that when I eventually make my way to the city this year, that I'll be able to put my little tush in a seat and be blown away by these productions. So yeah, I definitely want to.
Last two questions.
Yeah.
As you can also say no to this because I know you literally are a coach. For people who are in the business as actors or people who wanting to go into casting or coaching, do you have any advice? Do you have any words?
I mean, of course I have words.
What do you
Um,
want to give out for free?
I know, right? Um, yeah, I would say, for those are okay. So I have two separate things to say. So if you're someone who's like already like in the thick of it and trying to like, um, you know, work your way through this industry, um, first I would say you're amazing, you're brave, like you are doing something I could never do. And I applaud you for the efforts that you're putting into your craft and putting into yourself. Um, it's really incredible and we so appreciate it. Even if we can't always share that, we so appreciate the work that you're doing. So thank you. Um, and then I guess as far as advice, there's so many different things to touch on and so many different facets of the business versus the craft of it all. But I guess in general, just mm, I would hope that you can remind yourself that it is not a race. There are so many forces working against you in this business where it is about how you present yourself, how you like what your lived experience is, who you know. There are so many forces working against you. So at the very least, you can give yourself the gift of time. It takes time to learn the craft. It takes time to learn more about yourself and how that affects the work that you do and the work that you want to do and the work that you respond to. So please don't feel like you're in any kind of rush, or that you are, racing against time because that is simply not true. Everyone's path is different. Everyone's you know, journey is different, and the more that you can trust yourself and get to know yourself and what it is that you want and what it is that you respond to and um what kind of artist you want to be and what kind of person you want to be, that's really what's going to pay off in the end. So please be kind to yourself in that regard. And then for people who have never acted before and are interested in acting, like my first thing is look into what's in your own backyard. What regional theater is happening? What casting offices are near your area, like in the closest city. How can you take advantage of what is in your community before you think about a big move to a bigger city? And
Nice.
that's what I got.
Some good advice.
I tried.
Okay, and then last question, which I end every podcast with. What is your drink of choice?
mm,
Depending on
I
what I always tell people, like, what is your cocktail of choice? But I know not everyone
yeah.
drinks. So if you're not a drinker, if you're not a alcoholic beverage
Mhm.
person,
Mhm. I do drink alcohol, but I honestly am really not that big of a drinker. It's like fine and I'll do it, but like honestly, the happiest that I can ever be with a beverage is a lemonade. If it's like a flavored lemonade, we're even more in the money, but like nothing hits more for me than like a nice cold, slightly tart lemonade. Oh God, nothing better.
are you a lavender lemonade person?
I'm actually more of like a pink lemonade or a raspberry lemonade. Like raspberry
Oh,
lemonade, that's my girl. That's my girl for
okay.
real.
When
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
not.
when I was up there in LA, like all I did was I ordered lavender lemonades. I was like,
Mm.
one of these has to be great because one of them is going to be made by real lavender. It's like not gonna be
Right.
the weird like pump version. It's gonna be like
Mhm.
someone stood in the back and made their own lavender simple syrup and now they're putting it in the lemonade.
Oh my gosh. I
I don't
mean, I
think I ever found
love
it.
Yeah, I love that journey for you. I feel like lavender is a flavor that I tussle with because I feel like I should love lavender on principle because I love the color lavender. So I'm like, so the taste should obviously be great. And every single time I've tried something with lavender, I'm like, this is not what I expected. And I don't know if I like it.
It is a very. I also think it tastes much different than it smells.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas like most things, like
Um,
you smell it and you're like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm about to taste.
mhm.
But lavender is a little different. Lavender like is a little bit of
Exactly.
a jump scare, to be completely honest.
Jump scare is a great way to put it. Yeah, I feel like with my lemonade flavors, I'm a little bit more basic than like I don't need something like an elaborate like flavor to it. Like truly a regular schmegular lemonade will like like the simply lemonade hits for me. Like I
Are
don't
those the
need
ones in the bottles and you
yeah,
like yeah, and they have like little fun facts or something, right? No,
that's
that's
Snapple.
Snapple.
Simply is like, I mean, it's literally like the basic ass like lemonade that
Right.
you'll see at like a CVS or like a Dwayne Reed or something like
Yeah.
that. It'll always be Simply.
Were you a lemonade stand kid? As like, did you do a lemonade stands?
No, that is not the kind of flavor that I saw for myself as a child. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, no, no. I would absolutely. I don't think like 'cause my neighborhood was very much like of that kind of like upper middle class, like someone's child would certainly do something like that. But I honestly don't think I ever saw it in real life. But if I did, I would certainly give them my hard-earned quarter for a little cup of lemonade.
I think I did it like once, and we bought the like what is the like it's like powdered. It was like crystal something or
Yeah,
whatever.
Crystal Light,
Yeah,
or
people paid for it. I think I made like $10.
oh my god, big spender.
It was a big day for a little like 6-year-old me in my
Oh,
lemonade stand. Okay,
precious.
well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I
Thank you for
will
having me.
put all of your information below, but do you want to like say your ats and all of that website, whatever you want to?
Sure. All the details about my coaching business, from the services I offer to the pricing, can be found on Instagram at Coaching by Binta. Um, I am currently like doing a lot of work right now between my jobs, so my bookings are not completely up to date. But if you have any questions, you can always email me at coachingbybinta@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram and be happy to set you up.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. That was I'll Drink to That with Binta. Um, I hope you all enjoyed. Next week, we have Jumin Wang on the podcast, who is currently in Angeliette, so please stick around for that. Look out for that next week. And yeah, stay classy. Enjoy your sip of whatever life gives you. All right, bye.